wonderful people. Once again, you're welcome to Bethel TV, and this is Time with the Rev. My name, once again, is Pastor George Huhwai Mensah. So excited to bring to you the third episode of this wonderful program that's set to bring forth and break some misconceptions about views in our societies. And like always, I'm so glad to present to you our Reverend Minister, the senior pastor of Bethel Community Baptist Church, in the person, Reverend Frank Chumensa. Reverend, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Sure. It was a wonderful time we had the last time as we were talking about this issue of dating and relationships. And from our last discussions, you drew our attention to some very interesting facts. And I believe that our viewers have been blessed as we've seen reports, people commenting about this topic. Today, we want to look at something more interesting, and I believe it's going to be interesting because we hear all around boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. Now, from what we talked about the last time, I would like to know what is the difference between boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and dating?
Thank you very much, Pastor. A date is somebody you book an appointment with to go out, maybe for a dinner or for a special program, with a view of developing the relationship further. But if you say somebody is your boyfriend or your girlfriend, it means that both of you have agreed to a romantic relationship, which goes further than date. So maybe you begin with a date or two, you go on a first date, you go on a second date, and then you come to the conclusion that I can have a romantic relationship with this lady or with this gentleman. So based on that, then the gentleman proposes. These days, the ladies also proposes, and there is an agreement to the proposal. Then you could say that the person is your boyfriend or your girlfriend.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. So, Rev, are you saying that you can have multiple dates?
Yes, when you talk about date, you could possibly have multiple dating because you see, the more people you go out, the better your chances of determining who is good to have a romantic relationship with. What I have seen really is that the very time you invite somebody out on a date, then the person begins to think that you are already in a romantic relationship. You see, so that is where the caution really lies. But if you take dating at the very facial value, it simply means that you are taking the person out. You see, with the view that the person could potentially be somebody that you could have a romantic relationship with. But once you don't have a romantic relationship with the person, then you could go out with another person too. And then with another person too. You know. I may say that, or may I say that, these days I've heard somebody say that, okay, he's my date. And when they say that, they usually mean that they have a romantic relationship. You know, so it is looking increasingly like the term dating equates with the term boyfriend. But the original meaning, if you say that you are going out on a date or you are taking somebody out on a date, it means that you are just going out with a view that the person could be your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well, it's always interesting. You realize, I think from what you were saying earlier on, that when from dating you move into a romantic relationship, that is a boyfriend, girlfriend. Now, I don't know what criteria of romantic that would be, but the question I want to know, or what I want to ask is it appropriate for a Christian or for Christian brethren to go into this boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? With what you are saying with romantic, that's the point where there's a romantic relationship. Is it appropriate for Christian brethren to enter into boyfriend-girlfriend relationship?
That's a good question. It's a question that I must concede has troubled the minds of many. But simply taking a romantic relationship, a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, at the face value, there's nothing wrong with it. It is what you do that determines whether it is good or it is bad. And again, to say that you have a romantic relationship with somebody does not necessarily mean that you go to bed with that person. It means that you are involved with the person a little deeper. I mean, you have agreed to study each other with a view of possibly marrying. So I think the distinguishing thing really is whether you go to bed. If you go to bed, it's wrong. Okay, but I don't see how you could ever marry, except it's an arrangement marriage, or maybe you meet the first time. Even if you meet the first time, you are not going to marry the same day. You meet the person, you like the person, you tell the person, okay, I am interested in you. I want to marry you or something. You would have a time period before you marry. So the time that you propose to the girl, or the girl, these days the girls also propose anyway, propose to the boy and they agree until they marry, that period, you could call it that he is your boyfriend or he's your... That's what I mean by you have a romantic relationship. Yes.
So what it means then is that it's not really about the word itself, but what goes into it determines whether it's appropriate or not.
Yes.
So Christian brethren can have boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
If I may say that with regards to every word, you have the connotation in the world. And then because of that, some people don't even want to use the term boyfriend. Some Christians, they would prefer, I think a term that I have heard going around is beloved, and so on. My question is that if you say somebody is your beloved, fine, you can say it's Christian and you have sex. Is that right? That's not right. But if you say, okay, she's my girlfriend or my boyfriend, and you don't have sex, have you seen? Simply because you have classified the person as your boyfriend. So I think that we should be concerned more about what is done. That is what makes it evil or not. But there is an element of semantics about it. Some people want to have a different term with regards. But for me, it doesn't really matter how you call it. Okay? What matters is that there is a waiting period between the time you both agree to marry and the time that you marry. And that time that you are waiting, you have agreed to have a relationship and you are waiting, that is the time that we are using the term boyfriend, girlfriend to categorize.
Okay, so viewers, you heard it from the Rev himself. It's not bad to have a boyfriend or have a girlfriend, but what goes into the relationship is what matters. Are you doing it right? If you're doing it right, you're okay. But if you're doing it wrong, you would have to reconsider that relationship. Okay, so Reverend, I think from our last time we looked at something interesting too. Now at this point, at what point at what time can one have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
That is also an interesting question. Again, I wouldn't say this particular age you are ripe to have a boyfriend, and this particular age you are not ripe to have a boyfriend. I believe that it is more to do with how prepared the young person is. You would agree with me that we all don't develop at the same years. We all don't mature equally. But if a young person is very mature, and if that young person is looking at his or her future, if that young person is able to combine a romantic relationship and regular life, without getting it confused or getting it twisted, that young person is ready. Now, here is what I mean. You would find a young lady who is, say, 21 or 22, possibly in the university, and the young lady gets into a romantic relationship or gets a boyfriend. And because she has a boyfriend, she cannot concentrate to study. Now, that young lady may be old, but she's still not prepared for a relationship. She needs to get a grip of herself. She needs to be able to mature to the place where she can combine having a boyfriend and her study before she gets into it. Because you don't want a situation where, because of her boyfriend, she can't study and then she fails, she flops in her examination, or she's not able to graduate for that reason. And that also goes for the gentlemen as well. You could have somebody who is, say, 18, but that person knows what he wants, knows what she wants. That person could even marry at the age of 18 and still continue with education normal, or go ahead with the career normal. That person can handle a romantic relationship and his education or his career. That person could be matured enough to begin a boyfriend or a girlfriend relationship, or a romantic relationship, whichever way you want to classify. So I believe that it is the maturity of the person that determines when they should get into a relationship. But having said that, I think that if you want to place an age to it, probably 18 is the age that the nation, for example, have agreed that people should vote. It means that they are grown. So maybe that age could be one of the markers that we can look at.
Okay, so the basic thing is all about maturity.
It's about maturity.
So at any age, if you're mature. Okay, so Reverend, that is quite interesting. You talked about in the Ghanaian, or let's say in our culture, the boyfriend, or you talked about engagement. So, is it to say that in our culture, the boyfriend, girlfriend, and fiancé is not too different from how the Westerners will see it?
I think that in our culture, when you agree to have a romantic relationship, whatever time you have it, could be likened to the boyfriend-girlfriend situation. But when the two parents come in and agree that their children are going to marry, that is where we will say that they are fiancés or fiancés.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's when each party is introduced to the various parents.
Yes.
Okay, so then before we come to the parents, what are some of the things that one can do when involved in a boyfriend and a girlfriend relationship? What are some of the things you can do or things you cannot do in a boyfriend or girlfriend as Christians?
If we begin with things you cannot do, straightforward, you cannot have sex, for example. Sex is for married people. So any other group of persons who have sex outside of marriage is sin. The Bible says that the bed is undefiled. So boyfriend-girlfriend relationship is not for sex. When I use the expression, you are in a romantic relationship, I mean that you are involved in a higher level, and the levels of emotions are a little bit higher than a regular friend. And the two of you have agreed that you are going steady, looking at each other with the possibility of getting married. So all other persons could be your friends, but this one individual, yes, is a special person with a view of getting married. All right. Now, you have to remember the purpose of the relationship. If you are going to talk about what you do, the purpose of the relationship is to study the person to find out whether you could marry the person. So all these activities that you are going to do, all the things that you should do, should be with the view of testing the different areas, the different criteria that you have for a married partner. That's why I said, before a person gets into a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, the person must have been matured. And the person must have had some criteria of a person he considers ideal for marriage, yes. So in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, you test those areas. Whether in your conversation, whether in the activities that you do, you try to find out whether these things match the kind of man that I am having, or the kind of woman that I am having. The reverse is also true. There are some things that you don't like. So during the relationship, you test to see whether this individual, does those things that you don't like. Yeah, you may not get it all complete, but there will be some indicators. Now, once you are certified that this guy is a potential candidate or he's definitely the person that I want to marry, I will suggest that you take time to go a little bit more into talking about how to bring up your children, for example. Marriage itself is a conflict ridden institution. So it will be very helpful to work on some things that will help you overcome the difficulties in marriage. So you have a girlfriend, you buy a book and you study about bringing up your children. It's a very good thing. You buy a book, you read together, and you think about, okay, how do we communicate with each other?
So you can go for seminars together.
You can go for seminars together. You can do all these things together. All the other things, other than that, you just have a normal relationship as you have with your opposite friend. But just that this one, you are involved romantically.